hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the UnLearnT podcast. I am your host, Ruth Abigail, aka RA, and this is the podcast that is helping you to gain the courage to change your mind so that you can experience more freedom. And as you can see, we are not two, we are three. See what I did there? There's a rhyme. See? That was
What?
good.
First of all, you ain't let me introduce myself.
I didn't. I'm
What's
getting
up,
there.
y'all? It's your girl Jaquita.
It's Jaquita. It's Jaquita. And we have a very, very special guest.
Oh, incredibly special.
Reluctant guest, I would like to say. Reluctant
she may be. But what you all need to know is that this guest is responsible for keeping us on track lately with
My Lord.
She keeps us together behind the scenes. And
Yes.
she helps us to organize the conversation. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Producer Joy. We call her Producer Joy very intentionally. What's up, Producer Joy?
Producer Joy.
Hello, friends. I don't like being on this side of the camera, but I'm here today.
Listen. Joy is a treat to all. Listen, and y'all are gonna see in real time what we are experiencing backstage as we're doing the podcast. Okay, because Producer Joy plays no games. Okay, with keeping what she calls me and Ruth the talent. Together. Okay.
They're a talent.
She plays no games at all. Okay.
So proud of my talent.
Yeah. No.
We appreciate you, Producer
Listen,
Joy.
y'all are great hosts for this podcast, and I'm just here to help.
Yes, and on today, she will be helping us by this. So you should also know that this particular episode is of the brainchild of Producer Joy. Therefore, there will be I will not be the host of this show. Producer Joy will be the host of this particular episode. We're very excited, and we're gonna turn the reins over to Producer Joy. What are we gonna do, Producer Joy?
What's happening?
I'm not gonna say that I'm the host, but I'm just assisting the podcast along from the other side of the camera. But today, we're going to get into this friendship of ours. We're going to get into how we have seen each other grow and develop throughout the years, throughout these too many
almost
decades.
20. Almost 20.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Yes, from this 2 decades worth of friendship here.
No, wait a minute. Joy, those are very different terms. 20 years and 2 decades are 2 very different things.
Either way, that's a grown person, okay?
When you start putting decades behind things, it's like a pastoral anniversary. She's been in ministry for 2 decades.
Oh, no.
Needless to say, we have known each other for a while, and we have seen each other through many transitions in life.
My Lord.
Many transitions. Hair transitions, clothes transitions, emotional, physical, also spiritual transitions in life.
My
so
Lord.
Let's get into it, ladies, huh?
Let's do it, Joy. Let's do it.
Now, out of who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about who's transitioned first? Should we start on the OG host, Ruth Abigail, first?
Yeah, let's get in on there.
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
I like it.
All right. What am I supposed to say?
No, it's not basically what you're supposed to say. We're going to talk about who you were when we originally met you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do this.
How you have, gotten out of the cocoon and became this beautiful butterfly.
My Lord, we waited on that butterfly. Let me tell you something. For all of those of you who feel like your golden hour has not come yet, all right? You feel like you're waiting to bloom, waiting to blossom, waiting to break through that cocoon and fly. All right, Ruth Abigail has led the charge, okay? Right. And just wait on it.
Listen,
wait on it. Your glory time will come.
Okay, look
absolutely.
At that. Okay.
I'm always down to talk about Ruth Abigail.
Listen, let's talk about that original. Ruth Aquita, can you tell me, just characteristics alone
Mm-hmm.
of what would you describe that Ruth Abigail that you met freshman year at Furman?
Oh, freshman year, Ruth Abigail was reserved
Okay.
but observant.
Mm.
She was I really want to just talk stylistically for a little
Yeah,
bit.
we're gonna
uh
go through the transitions.
yeah, like so Ruth Abigail, when she wore two different color tank tops, she
That was
thought she was
still
killing the game. She said, "Do you see my brown tank top with the pink one under it? I
That was
didn't come to play with y'all today."
that was fly.
Okay.
That was
Hair
that was
clip, these the claws have come back in style. Ruth Abigail is the mother of wearing the hair clip, okay? I didn't see Ruth Abigail's hair down for like at least freshman year. We didn't see
right,
it. Like
right.
Ruth, that hair was
except for that
clamped.
one day when
It
y'all
was
decided to like do my hair and makeup.
oh. So we had a day where we were like, let's dress up Ruth Abigail
Yeah,
and go
yeah.
out.
I
And
do
so
feel like I
we spent the day. Joy was probably
remember
somewhere
this
with
was
her high school friend. She
this
didn't love
was
us
the
yet.
early aughts
She didn't
though.
love us. She didn't love us yet.
I was not.
But I don't know. It was I know Jessica Giles was there. Shout out to Jessica Giles. Because we flat ironed Ruth Abigail's hair. We threw some makeup on her. We chucked out those tank tops. And she had like this black shirt with like a gemstone butterfly on it or something.
Oh
I don't
man.
even remember
I
that.
remember I remember this. We put her in some skinny jeans, but now Ruth was always about them skinny jeans. I don't let me tell you something. She liked them jeans tight. Tight. She always has. Um,
Lord.
but and we dolled her up that day. We were like, I think I should have chucked that hair clip across the room. Like,
Mm.
get out of here. But Ruth was always extremely wise. Like I knew that from the start that like Ruth had a level of just an ability to know what was right and what was wrong.
Okay.
um and to know kind of to see the deeper side of things and to be able to easily tell the intentions of people in a group.
Yeah.
She has always wanted to go her own way and do her own thing. She has never been one to follow the crowd. You got to wrestle with her. You had to wrestle with my best friend, okay? And I at that point in my life I was down for the wrestling. At this point in my life I am no longer here for that. Not playing them games with y'all.
After
um
decades, you shouldn't have to wrestle too much anymore.
yeah.
But
um
does that sound like who you thought you were, Ruth Abigail, that freshman year?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I was reserved. At the time I was much more I was more reserved. I was more reserved than I probably actually was.
Mm.
I was just insecure.
mm.
I was insecure.
See, I
And
didn't want to use those words, but yeah.
No, let's tell the truth here.
I was
Listen,
Yeah.
insecure.
freshman year in a state you don't know with people you don't know, there could be a little bit of insecurity, a little,
Listen.
you know,
Yeah.
a
And
little fear maybe.
my insecurities manifested itself in characteristics that really weren't mine. Like, and as I got more secure in myself, I I became what I think I wanted to be, but I just was afraid to be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just had to shed some of that off, is
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Like the
Yeah.
proverbial cocoon that Jaquita was describing in her introduction.
I think freshman year Ruth Abigail, it was I would say freshman and sophomore year, it was kind of like Ruth Abigail in waiting. Like we were waiting on Ruth Abigail to fully show up.
Okay.
And I think we kind of were waiting on all of us to show up, but I think Ruth, because Ruth was kind of the more reserved one of us, and the more one like she wanted to be, her own person. She didn't want to meld in with the group, so I think that it was just more obvious that like, okay, we're waiting on Ruth to get to that like show out version of herself, which I think by the time we got to junior year and you became president of the gospel choir, I think that really created a shift for you to like break through that shell a little bit.
Was that your catalyst to break out of your shell, or is there something else?
I think it was that, and also like having a real community. Like
Mm.
I had a community by that, especially by that time. I think sophomore year was kind of the establishment of our core friendship,
For
and
Okay.
sure.
once I had that, I felt like I belonged to something. Like it matters when you
Hmm.
feel like you belong to something. And so
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I really had that really real experience, like a deep belonging to a community outside of like basketball team in high school. But even then it's pretty surface because it's about sports. This was like a real connection of friendship. And so it's like that's the first time I felt like I've had that. And so I feel like I could really like lean into that. That helped me. And then the leadership positioning kind of opened up that piece of me, um, reluctantly, but it was there and it was the way I practiced it. So
Right.
Hmm.
So being able to be comfortable who you are with people who accepted who you were,
and I think that's
essentially.
important. Like I
Yeah,
think you have to have people. It is crucial that you have people around you that can bring that out of you. It's hard to grow into your real kind of full self without the community.
right.
Hmm.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I mean, also your community is a reflection of who you
Also
are.
that. Yeah.
Or, you'll see things in that other person that you would want to grow in yourself, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Was there anything in Jaquita that you were
No.
like, no, nothing.
Nothing. I didn't want to be like
First of all, I have been such an asset to her life. Okay.
no, Quita, no.
Oh
Like
man.
Quita was I I really admired how full of life Jaquita seemed to be. I always like
Okay.
to attach myself to people who would emanate the things inside of me that I think I was a little too afraid to. So
Mm.
Quita,
Mm.
it was really easy to be around her because it was like I love this energy. I just can't put it out. So I um and I loved that. And also Quita made me do things I didn't want to do. But she made me do it she came from a place of like true friendship. Like so Quita decided we were going to be friends. And I'm one of those people, I don't know if that's anybody listening, but I'm one of those people you're going to have to make me be your friend. I am not readily looking for more friendships. And so
Even though
Jaquita,
she had no friends, ain't had nobody to eat dinner with, was over here acting like, I'm sorry.
Let's not say all of her
we
business.
talked
But
about it.
no, that's true. You have
Oh no.
the you have you have the friends who join those together, who are like the glue, and then you have other friends who like are also around, but they have other, characteristics to add on to it. But there's always that one friend that joins the group together. And I'm
Yes.
not gonna lie, I feel like that was Jaquita. Yeah.
100%. That was
Yeah.
Quita. Like that is Quita. I mean,
That is who Quita is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You better make the community, Quita.
That's
This
right.
is interesting being talked about by the people who know me the most.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of like there's nowhere to back out of it. You know,
You
not at all.
it's
gonna
like,
tell us
yeah,
a lie? No.
whatever they say is likely the truth.
Just got to
But
sit there.
I mean, that's the part of friendship, though. Like what you were saying, like you saw that part of Quita in you. And when you have friends, there should be either something that y'all share together or at least something from that other friend that you also want to build in your personality, your characteristics that may not be something that you may be lacking at the point. And so
Mm.
what did you say? She was full of life. I called it a different word.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. While we're talking about friendships, let's talk about me and Joy's friendship. Huh? Let's talk about. So I'm just gonna jump in, tell the story real quick, Pooks.
Okay.
By the way, Joy is my Pooks. And that's because she was my freshman roommate, my
Yeah.
freshman year roommate. And me and Joy, we got room together almost totally by chance. And I'm
Almost.
going to leave the rest of it to the Lord. You know, we say chance, but it was really the Lord. And I'm super grateful for it. But I was actually supposed to room with one of our other friends, but a lot of things happened. And so I ended up entering into the housing lottery late. And so, and I think, Joy, did you enter the housing lottery late too?
Yeah, I just forgot to do it.
My Lord. And so me and Joy ended up in a room together, but we were in a triple. We had another roommate who we won't name here.
Three women.
So it was 3 women in one room, and it was
Toy.
it wasn't the best time. I mean, me and Joy got along, but that other roommate,
Not that she was a wonderful lady. Okay.
no, I actually really liked her. We had a great time.
Yeah.
It was just, again, 3 women in one room.
One room.
And so when I when it was right before we got the Furman, I'm gonna tell my stuff too. I tell my crap. All right. I ain't ashamed. Okay. I needed to know. Okay. My name is Jaquita. It is obvious my race. Okay. It is obvious. I mean, there's a 10% chance I'm not a Black woman. All right. But when I look on the paper and it says Joy.
Last name speaks though.
Oh, what does that mean? That's a regular last name. It wasn't Johnson. All right. If it had been Joy Johnson, I'd have been like, sound kind of Black. Right. But so I called Joy and we were on the phone. And
in the early days of Facebook. And so I had Joy a Facebook account,
yeah,
but I had no picture.
I couldn't stalk her. I couldn't find what I needed to find to learn more about her. So I was like, I'm calling this girl. So I called her up and I was talking to her and she got this cute little dainty voice. And she's just like, oh my God, me. And I was like, hi, Joy. So I got a little question.
Like it's the second question she asked me. She even tried to get to know me.
Just a little inquiry. I needed to know.
I just need to know. I was like, could you ask me a little bit else? Maybe there was context clues that would have let you know this.
I ain't got time for context clues. We're gonna be living together.
What was your question?
Ain't no time for context clues. But anyways, I asked the young lady if she was Black. And I could tell by the way she responded that she was offended. I could tell. I was like, oh, I think I made her a little mad. I think she got a little upset about that. But I think as
I'm very chocolate colored for those you on YouTube.
She sounded very light skinned on the phone. But when I think at that time, when you're moving into just like a different area of your life and transitioning into something new, I left high school and I only had male friends and I didn't know how I was going to orient. Not that I didn't have female friends, for those of you who might be listening, but like the people I spent a lot of time with was guys. But I didn't know how I was going to navigate college, being away from what I thought was going to be my norm. And I had also never thought about having a roommate. Joy actually went to governor school. So she went to a residential high school where she stayed, hours away from home and found a group of a community already. Joy was practiced in, living away from home. But that transition was absolutely brand new for me. And especially as a first gen college student, which, I think some of our listeners might be first gen. Shout out first gen. All right. We made it. We did it. Okay. Proud of y'all. Right. But it was a brand new experience for me and I didn't know the questions to ask. And, I think that is sometimes the hardest thing about transition is that you don't know what's on the other side of that transition. And I think me asking Joy, like, hey, are you a Black girl? It was really like, am I going to be able to relate to you? And is my room going to feel like home? Or am I going to have to learn that space too? And so I was very relieved when she said that she was, of the African American persuasion.
Yeah.
Amen. But getting back to the other point, Joy, within maybe 5 minutes of meeting me, and I met someone's mom who loves me to this day. Okay. I saw her mom at the mall one day and she absolutely loved and remembered me. Like I met her. I was my enthusiastic, excited self, showering love and affection. Okay. And afterwards, Joy just looked at me and said, you're just so overwhelming. No, my pooks did it. She wasn't my pooks at
But
that
also
moment though.
wasn't that, we were establishing the friendship. So
Yes.
and I wonder, like looking back at it now, like why did I say you were overwhelming? And it was just because where I was before, like, you know, more of us were like reserved. And so like
Mm.
having you being your like total authentic self was just interesting but also different for me. But so it was something unique for me in that perspective. But yeah, no, I will still call you overwhelming, but it's a good thing.
It's
Okay.
okay. It's all right. I understand now.
Context. All
But
right.
when I look back at that period of my life, like I think people who knew me in high school would have never used that term because
Mm,
I was actually more reserved in high school. Like
really?
in my close friendships, I was, funny, jokey, da 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 da. But I was so timid because I didn't want to come off as intimidating
Yeah.
or because of my height or because of my build or because of my voice. Like I was trying so hard to hide that I wasn't allowing myself to like be bubbly. I was not bubbly in high school. Like
So
I
what
was insecure and my insecurity led me to kind of draw into myself. So when
So
I
what?
got to college, I was like, y'all getting every bit of this personality I've been
So
holding
you're
back.
ready just to break out before you even hit. You were like, it's time now.
Yeah.
Okay.
was it a burden for you to not be your full authentic self?
In high school?
No, I wouldn't say that because my attention wasn't on me in high school.
Mm,
My attention was on how can I, who can I be that would be accepted?
yeah.
And so I didn't even know I was bubbly. I didn't even know that I was like I knew I was funny. I've always been funny, but I didn't know that I was like that charismatic. Because I was so focused on what are other people thinking about me and do they do they see me as someone who adds value to their life?
Mm,
And if I didn't think they did, I was in overdrive trying to be the absolute best friend, the absolute best counselor, the absolute best whatever. Like that's where my focus was.
So
Um,
what what made you say, "Hey, I'm going to start thinking about me instead of everyone else?" Like what made you do that transition between high school and college?
I don't know that I necessarily knew that that's what I was doing. I knew that I wanted to come to college. I honestly got saved. I gave my life to the Lord the summer before I went to Furman. And
mm,
so, really, what my attention was on when I got there was I mean, when I got there, I was like, yo, what churches does everybody go to? Where we at? I'm new, I'm fresh in. All right. How do I do this? And I think because I was free, I was learning freedom in that area, I kind of unlearned. See, Ruth Abigail, I included it. I kind of I kind of unlearned like the things that I unlearned the idea that I had to be somebody else in order to be accepted. Once I understood that I was accepted by God, it was easier for me to just kind of be present and not feel like I had to prove something to somebody or that my and I also think it was the difference between like friends with guys and friends with girls. Like that was a
yeah.
transition.
So, okay, so I have a question. That moment, and I know we were kind of like making it lighthearted, but like I've heard you talk about that moment of like Joy calling you overwhelming as a,
Mhm.
at the moment it didn't feel great. How did you, because I think that friendships have to develop, like Joy was saying, it was a developing friendship. You didn't really know each other
Mhm.
that well. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like today, and maybe it's a function of just like everything's just we expect it to be faster, but it's like that if somebody says something to me that I don't like immediately, it's like, oh no, I'm done with them. What made you not be done with the friendship with Joy?
Oh yeah.
I,
Was it because that we had to stay in the same room? You
Was
I
it
gotta
because
give this
I
girl a
don't, honestly, I think it was because and it was something, not that I'm still healing from this, but it was definitely something that I had to contend with for years. Like, like the idea of, okay, I need to learn to balance myself when I'm in different spaces. Or else I'm going to be seen as too much. And I think that that was something I had always avoided. And so it kind of struck a nerve that, like, okay, I'm too much in this space too. Whereas before I shrank, this time I think I was just a little bit more resistant and saying, I'm not shrinking from this. Like, you still getting all this personality. But I think that the reason why it didn't hinder our friendship was because, and work with me here, guys, but I think because a part of me believed it. A part of me, even though in the moment it was a little
It's
disrespectful. It
disrespectful.
was a little
I apologize.
disrespectful.
Also,
Yeah,
audience, I'd like to say I've apologized multiple times since then.
we've moved on from this, all right? This is just for kicks and giggles, all
I
right?
grow
But
this.
but a part of me, even especially as I got to know Joy a little bit more, but even in that moment, I didn't feel like it was coming from a place that was like destructive. I
right?
felt like it was an observation that Joy had about me that, like she was overwhelmed. Like, and it wasn't malicious. And living with her gave me an opportunity to see her past that moment.
Mhm.
Now if we had not been roommates, we may not have made it past that moment.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
But because we lived together and we went through things, I saw it in that moment. I saw it as she said something to me that was triggering, which you are going to experience triggering things even from your friends,
Even from your
if
friends.
not
From
more
friends,
so
from
from
loved
your
ones.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you cannot make that person the trigger. And I think that that's what we do a lot of times is we say, I could have said, oh, Joy is, I can't fool up with Joy because, she got something against me or she's going da 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 da. And every time I'm around Joy, I get upset and I get angry and I have labeled Joy as my trigger when really the trigger was inside of me, that what I'm saying, and the word lit the match on the trigger that was already inside of me. And if I deal with me, then I don't care if it's Joy, I don't care if it's my mama, I don't care if it's my grandma, I don't care who it is, they can't light my match. But you can't do that until if you cut the head off of a match, you won't be able to light it. You got to cut the heads off of your own triggers. And so I had to deal with that in me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Um when a trigger is coming, I think something we can unlearn is like when you're triggered by a friend, sometimes those triggers can be transformational if you let them, right?
Mm,
They don't have to be
Mm.
bad if they're coming from a person that you trust, right?
right.
And in this case, you know, like you
Not
said,
necessarily like trust me yet though.
well, no, that's fair, but I like what you said as far as your relationship. You saw it, you heard it. Your relationship, for the sake of, I think, I mean, you didn't say this, but it would make sense. Like, you want to have a good experience with your roommate. Okay, cool. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to sit here and demonize her because she said something that may have triggered me, and in that learn to trust each other, and then those that moment has helped you to grow as opposed to always holding it against her, right? Like, and
Mhm.
I just think it's like triggers. We always use the term trigger in a negative way, and it doesn't always have to be negative.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're triggered, it is a catalyst for growth, and you need to take it, like,
Right.
Yeah.
um and don't just let it be make you upset in the moment.
I
So
can
yeah.
honestly say that some of my biggest growth points happened because one of you told me the truth about myself.
Yeah.
Like that, and it was, it hit in such a different way. Nobody else would have been able to pull that out of me the way that y'all did. Um and so
So
yeah.
I'll share the moment that the biggest trigger for me, which they're gonna know immediately, the moment that I'm talking about. There was a moment our sophomore year, we were in our sharing year. This was
Oh
when
no.
we got to divulge all the things about ourselves, and
Oh
everybody was telling
no.
their deepest, darkest secrets and all this. And there's just a point I was not at a place where I was willing to be vulnerable with really with anyone. And they were sharing all these things. We're learning all this stuff about each other. It was getting all deep and all this stuff and emotional sometimes. And I would just kind of be in the background and I would just kind of hear it. I'm there, I'm listening, but I'm not talking. And at some point, I can't remember exactly who it was. But they called me out on it. I don't know if it was one of y'all, if it was Ashley. I cannot remember.
Sounds like an Ashley move.
It probably was. Um, but they were basically like, "You don't ever talk. You just sitting here absorbing our information. Why aren't you talking?" Right? And they essentially, what I remember from that moment. This is not these are not the exact words, but what I remember and internalize was, if you're going to be a part of this friendship, you're going to have to give some too.
Yeah.
Like, this is not an equitable deal. We're not going to sit here and let you just be on the outskirts of this friendship. Either you're going to be in or you're out. And I heard that. And that was
Mm.
like, and I had to make a real decision, because for me, again, that was a trigger point, but it was from a trigger point towards transformation if I let it, because I realized that that wasn't just with my friends, that was with God at the time too. I had put up all these walls
Mm.
with God that prevented me from breaking down walls with people. And so I was just all just like uninterested in anybody getting inside of me at all. And so in that moment, my friends and that moment with my friends put me in a position to say, either you're going to be in this life or you're going to be out. It's one or the other. No more
Not Ruth
lukewarm.
made us sound like a gang.
She
You know,
did. I'm not sure.
we did some gangster thing. Let's just be that same year, which was my point.
This is why I didn't call you on my
Oh man.
year.
Call what you want, Joy. That was we did that. And I ain't mad. I'm
Listen, that was a great time.
Um, and so anyway, but like I had to make a decision. And to your point, Quita, like my friends brought me to that point. I wouldn't have come there
Mhm.
myself. I I was resistant. Like, and God used my friends to bring me to that point.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to hear from God, really. You know, it had to come from something I was wanting. And if I'm being honest, and this might be other people, like sometimes when you're and sometimes your relationship with God, let me say, I'll be honest for me. My relationship with God at the time was more routine than real. And so
Mm.
but
Mm.
I really wanted friends. So I think God used that desire to pull me back in his direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God said, "I'm gonna give you these friends right here, who all we talk about is
Well,
is the Lord."
but also yes, that, but also like it was him saying, you may not think that you desire a relationship with me, so let me work in these friendships, so you can
Mm.
see that what you really want is a relationship with me, a real one. And
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't really trying to hear that at the time. I
Mm.
was like, I want a crew, like I want to be a part of something. And so sometimes I just think it's important to recognize, like, where you and be honest about where you really were. I really wasn't
Mhm.
that interested in having a deep relationship with God, but I did want friends and a community.
Yeah.
So God used that to bring me closer to him later on. But the
Mm.
focus was friendship. And I had people that called me out on what was unacceptable. And I had to deal with that and make some decisions. So thank y'all for doing that. And shout out to Ashley, because I do think she was the one who said it.
Sounds
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that
It sounds
definitely
like
sounds like Ashley.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aw. Look at the healing that has happened in this room.
Okay. So I want to I wanna talk about Joy because Joy is a scientist, and sometimes scientists
First of all,
you're a scientist.
I am not a scientist. Science major. Yes, I was a science major in college. Continue.
You're a scientist, and so um, the thing that I begin to learn about Joy is that she honestly is probably the most direct of our crew. She is just, but if you're watching the YouTube, you see this smile that's on her face, and she's so sweet. But behind that are some very specific words that you're gonna have to contend with, and you're not gonna know really how to do it because she also is smiling like she's the sweetest, nicest person in the world, which she can be, and also she's a scientist. And what I came to appreciate about Joy is
Figure out what we're trying to say here.
I would like to tell you, Joy, I'm just as lost as you.
Joy is Joy is I know, I understand. I'm getting there.
I'm very.
I'm getting there. Joy is very sure of some things. She's
Mm,
very sure of some things.
mm,
And
Mm,
even though we may not have liked what she was sure about, she never backed down from that. Even now with this podcast, she don't back down a lot, right? We might
mm-mm.
disagree, but as producer Joy, she's like, "No, this is what we need to do, and we'll come to something." But I admire her being direct and sure and kind. Like you have all those three things are true about you. And I've seen that progress in your personality,
mm.
but it's never changed.
No.
It's never
Interesting.
changed.
I honestly would say you're the more direct one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I, I,
I was like, direct,
I'm
Joy?
a distant second. Um,
Be direct. Y'all don't think
I
you
can be direct. I'm not saying that I'm not direct, but I think you're more so direct. And that's something that I maybe in our friendship is what that I have admired from you, like what we were talking about before. That was something I don't think I was truly like always direct when I was younger. I don't know if it was like, Southern ways you're supposed to beat around the bush about
sure,
things,
sure.
but I mean, other than telling Quita that she was overwhelming, I was a beat around the bush type of person. But in
Mm,
this friendship that we had, I had to unlearn like sometimes you need to have more directness. Get
mhm,
to the point of things. Let's not waste time because when
mhm.
you waste time, there are other things you should be getting to do, and you're not doing it because you're wasting time beating around the bush about something else.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ruth Abigail, for helping me with that. If
I
that's
think
the
what
case.
Joy is that Joy is she is the word efficient is coming to mind, but that's not what I mean. Because Ruth Abigail is efficient. Ruth
Yeah.
Abigail is like the cheapest way to get from here to here is to do this, like. But but she is Joy is intentional, and Joy believes and knows that there is a way that things can happen. Like, I
Mm.
think one of the things that I have enjoyed getting to know about Joy, sorry, it's just
It's a
joy is
lot.
everywhere when you talk about Joy. Um, but one of the things I've really enjoyed getting to know more about Joy is, as we've done this podcast, is to know that Joy is also a visionary. Like, because like we have known Joy as like the scientific mind. I call her with all my doctor questions. She is my primary care doctor on the side. I do have a
Yeah.
PCP, but
We
I go to my doctor's office and I'm like, listen, my friend Joy said that what I'm supposed to be getting is this. So if you could just please give me this medicine, thanks. Like, but I think that Joy is able to see the way that things should go and what should happen. And she's able to give direction to a group of people. And I think that Joy's always been that person. She's a community builder. Like, Joy is a builder just in general. Like, everywhere Joy has lived, she has been the one that has helped to build the community
That's
around
true.
her. Like, like Joy is, and I think the reason why I hesitate at saying that Joy is direct is because she prioritizes harmony. Joy loves for everyone to feel like they are a part, to feel like they are loved, to feel like they are wonderful human beings who bring something amazing to the table. And she will also develop that in you to make sure you feel it. Okay. It's not just believe that you have it. It's Joy saying, I am going to make sure that it is the best it could ever be so that when it shows up, it's right. And so I think that Joy gets direct about her encouragement. Encouraging is not always does not always feel good. It's not always like, oh, so ooey gooey, I feel so encouraged. Sometimes encouragement is pushing you to do what you're supposed to be doing. And that is Joy. Joy is an
Well, yeah, and
encourager who works on both sides.
I don't think that's why I don't think that being direct and harmonious are mutually exclusive. I think you make a great point. I think Joy has been a great blend of those things. Like
Mm-hmm.
she is a builder and she wants harmony, but she's direct in her desire for that. Like I like this is and I'm not gonna back down from it. And I do think that's an awesome trait. The other thing about Joy that she has maintained and I think is a valuable lesson for a lot of people is her ability to maintain many diverse relationships and friendships. Like this is
Diverse. Okay.
I
All
don't know
right.
people that have like the collection of friends she has that are as different as they are. Very, very like it is not that is not easy. Like that is not easy.
It's interesting, but like I said, there's everyone has so many different facets to each other, and it's just you know figuring out. I think a lot of times is how to have those connections with people, and for
Mm.
the most part, you're always going to be able to find a connection with someone. I mean, not saying they're going to be your best friends. Okay, didn't want to call y'all my best friends when I first met y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
Trifling.
It's something you grow into.
that. Yeah, you were clear about the fact that
Trifling.
best
Joy
friend is
literally, we were all in a circle telling each other how much we
This was
loved and
freshman
appreciate each
year
other. And
after
we
8
all,
living together.
whatever, this was freshman year, and Joy was still going on trips with her high school friends, leaving us in the dust. Joy didn't even participate in any of the orientation activities. Joy was like, I'm not doing that foolishness. I'm going to
I
Atlanta
knew,
with my friends.
I knew that
Okay.
life. But
Yeah,
like you said,
Joy
hard to do that
Joy
life.
cared nothing. Okay. If it wasn't, let me tell you something, Joy was in them books. All right. I roomed with, I can tell y'all the stories. Joy studied. I one day I was in my room. I was like, where is my roommate? I was concerned. Called her, couldn't get her on the phone.
I was
Nobody
in
knew where she was.
the
Joy
basement.
came in the room at 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, I was like, Joy, where were you? I was so worried. She was like, I was studying. Like,
I was
like
in the basement studying. It
here
didn't
we
have
yeah,
cell phone.
in the basement studying. Joy got up into her bunk, took a 2 hour nap, 6
Mhm.
a.m. was out the room, went back
Listen,
to go study some more. And I was like,
listen.
I need to put a track on this chick because
I aced that final though. I just want to say I aced that final. That's
listen,
all that matters.
me and Ruth Abigail, on the other hand,
Okay.
were caught up playing cards every night. But that's another
But I
story.
wanted to say one thing I did unlearn from what y'all were saying about me wanting a harmonious community is a lot of that was people pleasing too. And I had to
Mm,
unlearn a lot of people pleasing. And I think that's kind of what Ruth Abigail was talking about. My directness
hmm
came from my decreasing the people pleasing. Now that's still
Yeah.
in there, but it's not as high of what it was back when we were in
I can
college,
see that. I see
you
that.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah.
That's
No,
good.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
when Joy stopped caring about pleasing us, she got a lot more direct.
Yeah,
I was
she
also gonna say, I think like that's part of like moving from young adult to middle adult too. Like when
Mhm.
you get into your middle adult years, you're just way more attuned with what matters to you and what your needs are and what you have to offer. And you're just real clear about that. Like you go into a space and you're like, all right, here's what I got. Here's who I am. Here's what I can do. Don't ask me. Don't be trying to give me no growth plan. You know, don't tell me that I need to be more like this person or more like, nah, 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 nah. This is who I am.
yeah.
I'm a grow, I'm a develop, I'm surrendered to Jesus. So, wherever he leads me, I'm going to grow and develop. But You're not gonna get you're not gonna get, when you come and get Jaquita, you're not gonna get Ruth Abigail. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? Because I'm secure in who I am, and I'm not gonna pretend or try to be somebody else.
So true. So
And
true.
that's
I
what
mean,
community
it's
does,
the
you know?
as we grow, it's the self assurance of who you are, like knowing who your personality is, your wholeness.
Hmm.
And that's what community does. The community affirms who you are as a part of a whole. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to feel the pressure of being everything when you know you're a part of something, and you could then feel the freedom to be
Mm.
who you are authentically and let others fill in the gaps, because it's a whole, you have a whole. And I think we've had a really special privilege, like I know a lot of people don't have, like, of really
Hmm.
maintaining this
2
friendship
decades,
of
20 years.
huh.
Yeah.
That's it. 2 decades,
That's
20 years.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
established that before. Is no need to repeat it. We have, we've really like
70,
we've leaned
7,300 days. I just wanted to say that
thank
if
you,
you want.
Joy.
You
We've
want
Sit
leaned
back,
into
Joy.
this friendship and been able to we've really been able to like grow together, and that's been a privilege. And so what my but that's pretty rare. So I want to ask y'all, like, how would you encourage people who don't have necessarily this story, right? Like how do you utilize relationships around you to still grow even though it may not look the way ours did?
Hmm.
I think lean into whatever your relationships are. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be friendships, it could be mentorships, it could be your relationships with your parents, relationships with your spiritual leaders, your if you're still in school, your teachers, your bosses, whoever. Lean into the discomfort of difference,
Mm,
like lean into the things. I would not be who I am today if the people on this screen, as well as a few others, if they had not pointed out to me what they saw. And it was oftentimes what they were seeing was because they had something different to offer to my life. And I could have written it off as, nah, I'm not like you. So you don't get to tell me that that's a problem because we're different people. But I think that the reason why our friendship has continued is that we continued for the 2 decades to lean into the uncomfortable moments that made us kind of shift and sharpen ourselves to become better. But I've also done that with mentors. I've also done that with bosses and leaders, even the ones I didn't like, even the people that I was led by that I did not like or that I didn't appreciate in the moment. The things that I learned from the moment. I think our friendship was the thing that God used to create an atmosphere for growth in our life, but I have seen God use many other things to do that in my life as well and in the lives of other people.
mm,
Like it, I don't think that our friendship is something that people should want to covet. I'm
right.
hoping that you covet the God who gave it to us,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because he's the one who creates the moments in your life that lead to the greater that you're seeking after. And this
Yeah.
was the tool that he used for us to carry us from one level to another. But that didn't come without some stresses and some struggles, right? You're talking to a group of women. I mean, Ruth Abigail just got married, but you're talking to a group of women who were largely single for a good while,
No, for the
right? We do,
majority of our friendship.
we you said what?
I said for the majority of our friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, and even some of the other ones who aren't on the screen, like a lot of us was like, Lord, you know what I'm saying? And so there were things, but we had to grow with the situations that we were in, and we had to trust God. And I am really in a moment right now where I am in a walk by faith moment. Like, I'm really starting to believe that when the Bible says the just shall walk by faith, baby, that walk is gonna make you just. Okay. And it's gonna be a moment. I'm sorry. It's gonna be a moment where you're gonna have to look whether you got 5 friends or not, whether you got, a mentor or not, there's going to be a moment where you are going to have to look out in front of you and say, the walk that I'm walking is by faith.
Yeah.
And so I don't have faith in my friends. I love my friendships. I cherish my friendships. I absolutely adore the women on the screen, but my faith has been centered in the God that keeps me day by day.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Quita, um, none of us were surprised when
Jaquita
Jaquita
became
said, "I'm
minister.
going to divinity school and I'm going to preach." This
You
was
weren't
not.
surprised when I changed my major to religion?
No, not at that time, because we were pretty in it by then. Like, it wasn't surprising.
And also, you were not into psychology, so
Listen, I was trying my best. I was trying my best to hold on to the plan I had made. I wasn't, I was shocked when I changed my major to religion. Shocked. Okay. Listen.
Joy, do you? I don't remember being shocked.
I don't think it was for shock. I was just like, she got to get out of something. I don't know if she's going to sociology, but she getting out of psychology.
Listen.
I mean, that's what it was. But one thing I will say with this friendship with all of y'all, the one thing I learned was like that fear of unlearning that fear, like of fearing the unknown, embracing new things. Like,
Mm.
that's something like Quita, embracing to go into religion, Ruth Abigail embracing to leave and do go to Memphis. I don't know. You did a lot of stuff and you were just it was a lot.
Ruth Abigail
Buying a
was
house. I was like, you're doing a lot.
when Ruth Abigail found this concept of being debt free, we got
Right.
a whole new version of our friend,
Yeah, you
right?
did.
We got, I'm trying to tell y'all, something shifted.
Yes.
Something shifted. When we got entrepreneurial Ruth Abigail, like it's amazing now. And I think this is the beauty of kind of like having 2 decades in, is that y'all are doing things that I could not have imagined for you, but it's so cool to see y'all walking in some of the most like beautiful iterations of your purpose.
Mm.
Like I just feel like we are all in just a beautiful moment of purpose right now. And it's
Yeah.
so cool to see, all of the amazing things that y'all are doing. Like I think Ruth Abigail is like in her financial business like
Yeah.
bag right now. Joy is in her health bag right now. Like she's not playing. Currently, I have this watch because Joy tracks me. I thought that this was a gift. This is actually a tracking chip
Yes,
that Joy uses to
that's
make sure I get my steps, to
that's
make sure, okay, I am being tracked
We
on a
gotta
daily basis.
we're
She was like,
trying
oh, let's
to
be friends in the
let's
health app.
let's
Huh?
go full circles,
She
huh?
was, she was like, yeah, we're going to be friends in the health app and it's going to be great. And now another friend just added me in the health app, and I'm like, I can't have both of y'all. Shout
Why
out
not?
Juanita, who's also now tracking me. Okay.
It's supposed
So
to be encouraging, not tracking.
tracking. Tracking. Joy's like Joy always tries to ask questions like, like she's innocently just, checking in on you, but Like Joy would be like, oh, what'd you eat today? And you'd be
right.
like, God dog on it. It's like when your mama asks you, what did you eat today? It's like, I already know. And I already know where this is going. And Joy's like, make sure you get some protein. Make sure you drink your water. You might want to only eat one cookie, like, but Joy's in her health bag right now. And like, it's just been really cool to see. It's so cool to see your friends live a life that's beyond what you imagine for them. And I only think and imagine and hope for good things for them. But to see God doing above and beyond that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say we were all we all had mentorship experiences in college. I think Jaquita to I've seen Jaquita grow into a phenomenal mentor. And
Same.
mentor is, I think a lot of people use that term a little more loosely than probably we should. I have I will say I have my mentoring moments. I I don't feel like I'm the best mentor. One of the reasons because you have to be consistent and committed to a few people. You can't do it for the
Mm,
world. And Jaquita has done that. I've seen her really pour into the young adult generation consistently for years, like the same group, and be so passionate about it. And like she's that is I gotta give you props, friend. That's your bag, and you've taken experiences that we've had in college and you've maximized them. And
mm,
you have really like kind of said, I want to do what was done for me in the way that I do it. Like
mm.
and make sure that I do it in a way that honors the people that I'm with. And you do that so well. Like I see that. Like for real. Like you really, really do. And I admire it. And that's kind of how I know I was like, I'm not a good mentor. No, because Quita,
That's crazy you say that because I actually took a lot of mentoring tips from you.
I have had my mentoring moments, but the
Mm,
consistency of keeping up with relationships and deepening them and developing them like that, that's just a natural thing. I think I've done it in seasons in a lot of ways when it fit the world I was in. But you do it across the board. Like it doesn't matter where you're going to be working, it doesn't matter where you're going to be living, you're going
mm,
to keep up with the people that you started with.
But I mean, that's also like elements that we saw in our friendship with her. Like you can
Yes.
see
Oh,
that in her mentorship with
100%.
everyone. Like how she is in her friendships, how she's committed to making sure she knows what's going on. Like I know she said that I'm tracking her with her watch. She tracks all of us and maintains what we're doing. Okay. Listen, I may not have
100%.
talked to a friend in a while. I'll call Aquita. She'll tell me what's going on because she knows. She tracks us all. And it's the same way you track.
She
I
tracks us
track those
all.
that want to be tracked. All right. I stop running after the ones that don't want to be tracked. All right. Um,
Also something middle adult years.
listen, these middle adult years. I mean, it was funny. Back in the day, I used to have a schedule. I knew when to call everyone. Like I knew when people were on their way to work. I knew when you took your lunch break. Like I was a little stalkerish, wasn't I? A little problematic, right? But I was so intent on keeping the group centered because when we were in college, I remember in prayer the Lord told me that as long as he remained at the center of the group, he would keep us all together. And so I kind of like took that as my personal charge.
Mhm.
Like, all right, Lord, I'm gonna keep the crew with you and I'm gonna keep us together. Like, and that was my mission. I was like, hey, have you talked to Jesus?
Uh, uh,
Don't forget you have a purpose. Don't forget don't forget your destiny. Don't forget that God loves you. Don't forget, and while you remember him, remember me.
Lord. Oh Lord. Oh boy. Okay.
All
You
right.
know. But I think, I it was also something like that idea. I had to let go that like I was the glue. Like, I had to let go that it was, that I was supposed to hold everyone together, and I had to allow because I wasn't blossoming, because I think that I have a tendency to make other people my business instead of allowing God to make me his. And so I had to let go in certain aspects and allow God to do in my life what I was trying to do in others.
Mhm.
And that led to spurts of growth for me. um but I want to thank Ruth Abigail because I remember when Ruth became the president of Fuge, and there's a whole story behind that. We could probably do a little episode on that because that was an interesting
The
time.
Furman University
That's a
Gospel
good mini
Choir.
episode.
Oh, sorry. Furman University Gospel Ensemble, the choir. All right, she was president of the choir. Um, but I remember seeing her in a light that I had never seen her before, like as a leader. Like I did not know. Like I knew that Ruth was wise. I knew that she was good at giving direction, that she was good at like having a vision for the way that things should have been, but I didn't yet know like how much of a leader my friend was. And when I think of our friendship now, Ruth has built a platform that she has invited all of us onto to like really exercise our gifts and to flourish. But we would not be able to do that if she had not built something. And I think that Ruth does that in so many areas of her life. She builds things that other people can flourish in. And I think that that pushes and drives her to continue to build things. A lot of people build companies, but their companies either serve their clientele or their company serves them, right? Like when they think about their company, they think, oh, I'm gonna make some money with this. But I love that Ruth Abigail is like, I'm bringing the whole hood with me, like I got all of y'all who want some, who want to get in on this. And I love that even in her professional life and in her personal life, she is always thinking of how can I build something that can help my community to grow. And I think that that's absolutely phenomenal. And it's been really cool seeing that begin to really flourish. And I think that that's been like it has gotten even greater in the middle adult years. Like middle adult Ruth is like, I'm not playing with y'all. I got some things coming. And I'm like,
Oh Lord. I
It's
love
true.
it. I love doing this with y'all. This is fun.
this is good.
And
This is really
yeah,
good.
it's cool. Like I feel like at some point we have talked about, actually at many points in our friendship we have talked about doing something together. And
Mhm.
this is fun to see it kind of come together in this moment. And like we're doing it. Like we're actually doing it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it is so much fun.
And it worked
And it
like
yeah,
at the right time for all of
It was
us.
the right time.
Guys.
It was the
It
right
really
time. I feel like we have enough things to say now, you
right.
know? I feel like we've been testing all of our stuff out on each other for these 2 decades. And now we're like, all right, time to take this public.
People. Okay. That's
Yeah.
no, that's good. That's good. That's good.
yes.
Oh man.
Uh,
Well,
good.
producer Joy,
I think we've shared a lot, guys, and I'm proud of you. We're sharing with the audience today, and no one else has. Wait, how does Ruth Abigail say this at the end? I think we're done. I think.
Producer Joy, y'all, no. I gotta say this before we go, y'all. When Joy finally got through her studies, like when she finally got through all her schooling, Joy became the funniest person in the group. Y'all think I'm hilarious?
Joy is fun.
Joy is top tier funny. And I didn't realize that until Joy graduated because she was so focused on that school. Joy is funny, y'all. She
Yeah.
is hilarious. Quick
She
with it. She quick with it, okay? And I have appreciated seeing Joy, because we're a pretty funny crew. Even Janae has her moments, but
Love you.
no, Janae has also gotten funnier. But Joy's she's standing on business with these jokes.
and
Okay, she be coming with it, and I love to see it.
sometimes, but it's okay. She be
You said what?
disrespectful. She be disrespectful sometimes, but
Oh
it's
no,
okay.
she absolutely be disrespectful,
But
but
I
it'd be funny.
smile.
It'd be
Okay.
funny.
It do. It makes somebody smile. Yeah, that's good.
Listen,
Yeah,
I crack up at Joy all the time.
yeah. Love
So
doing it.
Thank you all for joining us today. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the UnLearnT podcast. We'd love to hear from you. So DM us on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever. We're just so happy that you have been tuning in. And please, please continue to tune in with us.
Yo, so with that, let's keep unlearning together so that we can experience more freedom. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.